On the phone is Trevor Haché. Trevor, how are you this morning?
Good, Chris.
You have an interesting community initiative. You're involved with Ecology Ottawa. So can you just tell us what is the focus at this point?
Sure, yeah. Right now we're working with the City of Ottawa to try to ensure that our streets become better for all users of the street. So that's pedestrians, cyclists, public transit users, and motorists. By having the city pass a complete streets policy, and that's something they've committed to doing as part of the draft transportation master plan that they tabled earlier this month.
Now, I've heard this term. I've been hearing it, complete streets. That's the phrase, right?
That's right, yeah. It's basically the idea that our streets are very important public places that for far too long have essentially become traffic sewers. They don't seem to serve much of a purpose beyond being conduits for people driving their private automobiles. And the whole Complete Streets movement is really taking off right now. There's over 500 jurisdictions in North America that have passed strong Complete Streets policies, and we're hoping that the City of Ottawa will be the next city to do that. And essentially it requires the city, the engineers, the people responsible for designing the streets to consider all users of the street and all ages of those users and all different abilities of those users. So for example, if you're a young person walking to elementary school, a complete street policy should ensure that you've got a nice sidewalk to walk on. And if you happen to be an elderly person that uses a walker to get around, they'll ensure that there's a wide sidewalk for you to use so you're not getting caught up on any obstructions. And it also just ensures also that, the cyclists are hopefully traveling on as many segregated bike lanes as possible and that they're well protected from the motorists, because we're just hearing of far, far, far too many deaths related to cycling and motorist collisions in the city, and we need to stop that immediately.
So the whole approach seems to make so much sense, Trevor, and I think we have a few examples. Is Main Street an example where that might be applied?
That's correct, yeah. So at City Council earlier this year, there was a decision to improve slightly less than a kilometer of Main Street in front of St. Paul's University and the Green Door restaurant, and to add some bike lanes there to, basically give some space to cyclists within the existing right-of-way so that the area will better accommodate that particular mode of transportation. And there's also going to be improvements to the sidewalks in that area. The city expects that, a person driving in a private automobile might anticipate, a 1 or 2 minute on average increase in the amount of time it will take them to get through that area because of the improvements that are being made to the cycling facilities. But what's going to happen is that, in fact, more people are going to be able to be moved more quickly through that area. It's just that cyclists will be better accommodated. And so the city's sort of shifting its thinking a little bit to talk rather than, how many cars are being moved, how many people are being moved. And, of course, you can fit a lot more people on a bus, for example, than you can on in private automobiles, or a bunch of cyclists riding take up a lot less space on the road than a bunch of, people driving in private automobiles.
This is very encouraging to hear. Now, what's the specific initiative associated with Rochester and Carling?
Well, that's a good question. I received a notification yesterday from City Councillor Diane Holmes, who seems to be circulating a petition. I'm not sure if that's the same area that you're talking about, but I think the city's in the process of deciding how it's going to improve Rochester. And there are many people in the community that would like to see a complete street result from those improvements. So, you could imagine segregated bike lanes, better sidewalks, perhaps in some instances related to complete streets, you're going to see a dedicated lane for buses or public transit vehicles so that they can travel more quickly. And so I think that with regard to Rochester, there are a number of people in the community there that would like to see those types of improvements.
Now, I'm just seeing online here, actually, yes, There is a planning process going on with relation to Rochester, and some people have proposed breaking through the median at Carling and putting in stoplights there and allowing that to become another, as you said, a traffic sewer perhaps, and just sacrifice everything in favor of the private automobile. So there's actually an online petition that people can encourage the city to make Rochester a complete street. And here it says the address is completestreetrochester.weebly.com. So that would be something, if people want to support this idea, there's a specific example of a street that's currently under discussion. Now, what's the connection with Ecology Ottawa? Is this an ecology issue?
Well, certainly transportation and our choices related to how we get around to work, life, and play commitments has a serious impact on the environment, on the finances of the city, and on very much the social elements of our communities as well. So, people driving in their cars contributes to air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, and all sorts of, things get spilt on the pavement and then get washed into our waterways. And so, as much as possible, what we need to do is make better choices related to transportation, take more sustainable modes of transportation, whether it's walking or cycling or public transportation to get around, or even, joining a car sharing program like Virtue Car if you do have to have access to an automobile. Car sharing is very popular. I just want to mention, too, that Ecology Ottawa is running a petition that people can sign if they visit ecologyottawa.ca, which calls on the city to pass a comprehensive complete streets policy, because it's not entirely clear at this point if the city's policy is going to be comprehensive enough. And so it's really important that as many people sign that petition as possible at ecologyottawa.ca, just so that policy is as effective as possible.
Okay, yes, thanks for mentioning that. And thanks for this information about what's going on. I have to say, it's very encouraging. Let's hope that we do the right thing. As you're saying, this is happening across Canada and the U.S., getting back to an approach where we're more people-centered in general in terms of designing the streets.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the progress in the United States on complete streets has been tremendous, and even in places that aren't the usual suspects, like Alberta, both Edmonton and Calgary have complete streets policies, as does the city of Waterloo in Ontario. And so we're really hoping that Ottawa will continue to show leadership in this area, and we need the complete streets policy that Ottawa is hopefully going to pass soon to include the 10 key elements of a comprehensive policy, because what our research has found from across North America is that the most effective policies include those 10 elements.
Okay, well, thanks for the update on that. And if people want to get, you mentioned the petition at ecologyottawa.ca, so that's great. And if people want to get involved in your other activities, are there opportunities for volunteers?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have volunteers that are going out into the community gathering petition signatures. November 15th is a big day where the Transportation Committee is going to be voting on the Transportation Master Plan, and so we're asking people to sign up with the clerk of the Transportation Committee to go and speak in support of these ideas as well. And there's always volunteer opportunities at Ecology Ottawa. We have hundreds of volunteers, and we're always trying to increase our impact by engaging with as many people as possible.
Okay, well, all the best with that, because, this really brightens up my day to hear what's going on and that people are really encouraging the city to do the right thing. So thanks for being with us, Trevor.
Okay, you're welcome. Anytime.
Okay, bye now.
Bye-bye.
Trevor Haché is the policy coordinator for Ecology Ottawa. And again, it's ecologyottawa.ca.